slash dragonborn looking fellow. And at one point he leaves the adventurers group with a note about a very strange, particularly dangerous bounty, and runs into two dwarves and a particularly blue elf. I will hand off the dwarving stuff to my fellow dwarf.
So we started talking about things, and then the hungry Jorloth noticed there was a contract for a dragon, and he wanted to go and slay the dragon to cook the dragon. And then some conversations escalated about food and how conjured food's bad. And then we finally entered the Adventurers Guild and struggled to come up with a name. We had something about bread, and then got teased about Raven's bread at the end. And we ended with our quills in 3 contracts. And we're starting this session by discussing the contracts, I believe, after going to sleep.
Indeed. So I would say you could all mark off a long rest, but I don't think much was expended in last session. So as you all sort of come to in your various morning routines completed, some of you awake earlier than others, but most of you find your way downstairs. The customary Adventurers Guild houses its meals included in the room fee. So you are coming down to a widespread of a wondrous selection of wonderfully conjured breakfast to the tune of cheeses that look like chicken breasts, to the tune of breasts that look like, chicken breasts that look like cheeses. You've got sandwiches, you have egg and bacon, you've got everything, but you know in your hearts it all just tastes like chicken.
Yeah. At least
Sir
it's chicken.
Lothar would remark that it doesn't even taste like chicken, actually. It tastes like what people imagine when they say something tastes like chicken. Probably because it all tastes the same.
Oh, this tastes like chicken. Good chicken.
Tastes nothing like the thing.
You would note that the normal barkeep and owner of the Adventurers Guild is absent this morning. He's left a message with his apprentice, who is a young, ginger-looking half-elf who is very much ill-equipped to be in the position that he's in. Very, very early teenage, perhaps 15, 16 years old kind of thing. For us, you would maybe perhaps say an early school leaver, but for their age, just clearly someone who's very bored, looks very disinterested in everything, and is just quite simply sighing at every opportunity at all these passing comments about the chicken. Although he does flag you over, Lothar, with a piece of paper as a note.
He takes the note, looks it over.
He express as you open it, you can see that there's a wax seal on it, and you recognize this wax seal. This is a customary seal from the house of the Comporium.
Okay. I open the letter, see what it says.
It just says, to my dearest Lothar, if you could come at once, I have something I must speak with you about. Signed, you know who.
He packs up the note, goes to the table and pats the nearest dwarf on the shoulder, saying, yeah, I'm not getting anything out of this food right now. I'll go tend to some business out and go sleep. Be back soon.
What do you eat?
Not this.
Is it
And he
inside?
laughs.
Is it inside the walls or outside the walls?
It's inside the walls, so no. Don't think I can come back with a squirrel for us.
All right,
sadly.
I'll go get one myself then. I will look over at the young lad behind what is it, like a table or
Yeah, just like a
Yes.
workbench. It's a registrations table, basically.
sure. I will eye him down. I was like, you don't happen to have any actual food here?
And you just see like he's just like really not even looking at you, just like, nah, don't think we do.
I figured as much. Anyone else wants a decent breakfast? Feel free to tag along. And I will just stroll right outdoors.
That sounds like
Oi,
fun.
I will. Let me get me morning potion first. So I'll walk
I'll
up
wait.
to the counter for the lad and
What
go,
is the morning
have you got
potion?
the warm brown morning potion?
Ah, the morning brew.
Make a persuasion roll.
Oh.
With a 4, the lad just sort of looks at you. He's like, "What are you on about? We got potions here."
Coffee.
Oh. Why didn't you just say coffee then? Like, what are you doing? Well, I don't get. He just nips off into the back, and you just hear like this really agitated, like crockery and pots going everywhere, and then comes back about 2 minutes later, and there's just this small, small tankard that's got a sealable cap on it, and he just sort of hands it over to you, and you're just like, "You've paid for that already, right?"
Aye.
Ah, all right.
How long would this take?
Just 2 minutes. Like it's really quick, just heats it up, bit of magic. Instant
Alright.
boil coffee.
While I'm outside, I've made a very tiny with flint and steel. I've made a very tiny small fire right outdoors. beside the door,
Just on the
where I have
property
my
in the
own
middle of the
little
street.
tiny little metal glass where I'm just making some tea. I put some leaves in. I'm just waiting for this dwarf.
Brilliant. Okay. So, heading along.
I imagine one moving around with like a permanent little fireplace he can just plop down whenever he wants.
I just find some kindling next door.
Yeah.
I just picture this casual levitation spell on what? The campfire. It just follows you around.
I'm specifically thinking of those adventure games where you could pick up items and put them in your pocket. You pick up the fireplace, you put it in your pocket, you plop it down whenever you need to.
Yes. It's like Baldur's Gate 3. What's in your pocket? Full crock pot.
Yeah.
3 barrels of oil.
A barrel within a barrel. How impressive. So, heading up the cobbled streets of the Artisan Tier, not 100, 200 feet away, round a corner, and approaching the Varney's Fountain, you can see the wonderful multicolored drapes of the exterior of the Comporium before you, Lothar.
Mm-hmm.
As you head on in, familiar sight of a very disgruntled looking, I'm too early. It's too early today. I've not had coffee looking individual of a elderly Tortolan stood behind the counter.
Well, he just, lifts the envelope and flashes the seal. You know who?
Ah, it's too early for her. She doesn't get up for another hour.
Oh, she'll get up for me.
Make it quick. Shouldn't be hard for you.
He just looks the Tortolan over, sighs, and just shakes his head and moves on.
Third door on the right.
I know. Then he goes and politely knocks.
As you do, the door gives way to the knocking.
Okay. A door that isn't closed properly is one of the things that makes Lothar uneasy, so he instinctively just places the hand on his sword pommel.
Okay.
And slowly opens the door.
as you open the door, can you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Yes, I can. It is a 9.
As you step into, well, just peer your head forward into the room, a bucket of what looks like not the cleanest water is tipped over your head from that was just perched on the top of the door. A very familiar and recognizable prank to an individual that you would be a little bit familiar with, but sat behind with his feet just hiding from out underneath the bed. You can hear a little child giggling away to himself, very pleased with himself with such actions having completed.
Didn't see this one coming.
That's all you hear.
Of course. And I look around the room for...
Sat in her normal dressing table with her long flowing hair, just as you'd pictured, is the individual that you're seeking.
And he goes, takes a seat opposite her, and tentatively reaches out and grabs her hand. Rough day, rough night, both.
You can see a little bit of fresh scarring down the side of her cheek and a bit of her arm.
Is it somebody I need to take care of?
She doesn't look at you. Not whilst he's here.
He nods and reaches into the knapsack he brought with him and pulls out a paper string wrapped proper steak, slides it on the table, and then reaches in again, pulls out an apple and aims under the bed at the kid's feet.
Ow!
When are you going to trust me and actually stop doing this? Not jealous, it's just dangerous.
Lady turns and looks at you. It's like with a knowing look, as if answering your question is not what you actually want. This rhetorical yet not rhetorical question.
There should be enough for 2 proper meals there. Actual proper meals that take. And he reaches into his pouch and slides over a couple of golden Iron Dominion crowns. I'll be away for a while.
How long?
Ideally, a week, but you know how it is with what I do. One of these days I'm going to say a week, and it's gonna be... You understand that, right?
I do. He won't.
You know? I wish I could just plop you and him on Steadfast and gallop out of here all the way back to the Iron Dominion and start a farm somewhere.
You know the rules. You have to buy me first.
And even if I can't, I just burn this whole citadel down and take you anyway.
What, like the old stories?
What have you been reading him?
Nothing. He's just been let loose in the library. He found this. Told me of the great burning of, what was it? Farron Arthur?
Fort Farron!
If you ask me, that was just an exercise in bad urban planning. You hear that, kid? Next time your friends ask you, repeat, bad exercise in urban planning.
Bad exercise in suburban. Yeah, fire.
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it. That should be enough to help you take the day off at least, right? And he gently cups her cheek, give that thing time to heal, and maybe write a name on a sheet of paper for me.
Ask Gretchen.
Gretchen referring to the Tortolan outside. She'll have the name.
He nods and, gently runs his hand through her hair again. You'll be the first to visit when I'm back. And he, on his way out, he pulls the kid from under the bed, like almost effortlessly, like a fish.
And with that, the child, who is mostly giggling away to himself, hiding in his own fantasy land at the same time, dangling before you, not 3 feet in length, hanging upside down, scraggly, rough hair, similar colour to that of his mother's.
And he just ruffles his hair and then sets him on the bed.
He immediately jumps back off and goes back under the bed.
Yeah. Can't see you. And with one last, slightly longing, conflicted look at the woman in the chair, he turns around, exits, and goes straight to the Tortolan.
Okay. As you approach, the shriveled voice, like,
That was longer than you normally last.
Yeah, well, who was it?
make a intimidation or persuasion roll, depending on how you want to deliver that line.
He's going to go for persuasion first.
23. Wow. Okay. So, as Gretchen sort of looks you up and down, you can see that she very slowly turns, bends down ever so slightly, and is like growling as she does almost, and picks up this heavy laden book. And on the inside, she turns pages individually, one at a time, taking a long, drawn out time, taking care, but also you get the impression this is sort of as fast as she can actually move as well. Gets to about 20 pages, 21, and you can see you going through day by day, and it's a full page spread per day. And yesterday, as it turns to, you can see there's only one name in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I will
What's
pen
the
you
name?
that. I will pen you that name.
Okay.
As you get a good glimpse of it, memorize it. You don't recognize the name, but she just catches you a glance and closes the book and just says,
It's always good to just do a bit of double checking here and there, isn't it?
Always. You know who it is? It's going to save me a bit of time.
I know he's up in the Lord's tier, but you didn't hear that from me.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Some might say he might even have the ear of a council member. Pick your battles
course, yeah.
wisely, Lothar, or it'll be your last.
I'm not going to die dueling some lordling.
Oh, I know
But,
you won't.
I know.
and the stern sort of facade is sort of melted away as she sort of slowly raises a hand out towards you and then just pushes you in the direction of the door.
I don't get back here too quickly.
Be gone almost a week. That's going to give you some time to, I don't know, stop this place smelling like whatever it is that it is smelling right now.
That's just you.
And he laughs, barreling as he walks out the door.
Slightly sodden, but very quickly air drying, Lothar makes his way back down the cobbled stones. Meanwhile, the brew is boiled, the tea is comfortably prepared, very tasty, and you get the impression as early morning, a couple of members and denizens of the town are passing by, and it is a peculiar sight to see two dwarves on the sort of pavement outside of the Adventurers Guild with a campfire set up and a cup of tea brewing in the middle of town. I'm guessing, Alex, you would be sort of in the
Yeah, I'm
vicinity.
with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about what they want to do. So I'm tagging along.
Is your coffee finally done then?
What?
I've got it here.
Ah, the
Good.
the brew.
Longhair, you also want a cup of tea? Or you just want to go straight to breakfast?
Breakfast?
All right.
I wouldn't say no to the tea if you've already brewed it. I'm curious what
Well,
it's like.
I'd have to boil another.
No, then
The
don't
guy
worry
makes
about
single
it.
portions.
You have your whole cauldron of tea there. It's all good.
I only made a small little cup because the other guy was making coffee
It's
and I had
okay,
to
don't
wait.
worry about it.
All right. I will stand up and I will quickly sort of stamp out the small little kindled fire that I made. Off we go then. Time to get some proper breakfast. And I will start marching towards the gate that we came from yesterday.
Brilliant. As you do, the thing that catches your eye is the people all this morning seems to be going around in a bit of a rush. You know, heads turning, seeing your strange established cooking of the boiling on the street of your tea, but no one seemed to stop. No one actually said anything. No one challenged you, and even the gold keepers that you pass by, the town's militia, seem to be walking at a brisk pace. As you make your way to the gate, you are stopped by a pair of gold cloaks, the gate's guardsman, and the same one you recognize from yesterday, who was sort of disgruntled as you were slipping back into the town. Sort of looks at you and goes, "All right, where are you heading off to?"
Breakfast?
Gives you a peculiar look. What, can't you conjure?
I don't want none of that garbage. I'm off to hunt my own breakfast. You should try it sometime.
Well, remember, whatever you bring back, you must declare customs and exiles.
Well, I can't declare what's in my tummy, man.
He gives you a very disapproving look, as if that's a big loophole we need to fix. He sort of turns to the other guard.
Wait a minute. The laws don't speak of this.
Well, be off with you. Get out of my way then. He pulls the gate open for you. It's a slight portcullis is raised and the double doors open out for you.
What direction was everyone heading towards, if we managed to tell from the commotion? Was there like a flow towards a place, or?
It was less a specific direction. People were moving in all sorts of directions. It was just everybody was a little bit quicker than you would have
Oh, okay.
observed, certainly in the previous day.
Okay.
A little bit of high
What's
attention.
what's the gate guard also on edge or in a rush or?
He seemed to treat you. Well, you can make an insight check actually.
All right, inside.
Is that a natural
Let's see.
20?
That is a natural 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You get the, oh goodness me, whispers. Okay. You would pick up, firstly, on the fact that this guy was very much, I couldn't give a crap last time you encountered him, and today he was a little bit more upbeat, but still really didn't enjoy his job. And yet today he seemed a little bit more like he was looking for an excuse to be done with shooing you out the gate and return to whatever he was previously engaged with. Less so
turn
of
over
a
to-
frustration, more of a sort of an eagerness.
All right. I'll turn over to my fellow dwarf. Is something going on today?
Oi, God!
As you sort of shout
Well, I mean,
backwards, and he looks back
I
through the
could have asked
gateway.
myself if you didn't know.
What you got planned? You want some breakfast?
We've already eaten, conjured, and he just like you watch as he like pulls off his metal gauntlet, and he just like flicks his hands, and just like some conjured ethereal banana just appears. It's just like, and it dissipates.
Don't let me stop you from using that for his purpose. That's what that way.
A very condescending frown as it dawns on him what you were just saying. He closes the door and stops engaging with you.
Oh my god.
I bend over a little bit as my gag reflex sort of.
I turn to my fellow dog and go, I guess we know why he was in a hurry.
Oh god.
So then why are all the people behind us in a hurry?
Free show.
I can't bother. I have an empty stomach. Let's go get some breakfast. I
As
will
you-
march through the gate.
The three of you make your way out the short distance to a small cobbled track, and this gatehouse is lesser of the predominant entrances to the fifth tier of the Golden Keep. You have a bit of a familiarity with this road. It sort of meanders its way over to one side where it's well maintained. It leads to the Sky Docks to the east. You've exited north out of the city, and you have a bit more of a traversed grassy dirt route leading north, which is where you previously had started your previous day. And to the west, you have a beginnings you can see as the corner of the citadel, or at least of this part of the wall, gives way the makings of a well-traversed, well-maintained road where you can see general goods and commerce would be expected to traverse, as opposed to just a footpath. But as you head on out away from the town,
So up north was like a walking path.
yes, in the
Alright.
direction of sort of more a few dead trees, a bit of undergrowth, poorly maintained, general wildlife area. But at the crux, looking north, you can see off in the distance the towering crags and spires and peaks of the mountain range to the north.
Alright. I will go forward along the meandering path for let's say a good 200-300 feet before I sort of wander off the path, sort of into the shrubs.
Okay.
Where I would like to check if there's any signs of animals, whether I can hear them or see any tracks.
So if you want to listen, you can make a perception check. If you want to look for tracks, it's going to be a survival.
Can I approach and cast guidance on him?
Sure.
Okay.
I will first see if I see any birds in the trees
Okay.
or
Perception
any
check.
squirrels.
So I'll be right next to him because guidance is a
It's
touch spell.
17, and guidance is a 1d4,
1d4, yeah.
so that would be a 19.
19. At this point in the undergrowth, you would see very little movement, but your eyes are catching, even the leaf twitch as a small breeze comes over the hilltop as you are very close to this salty sea, 2,000 feet below you, but still the fresh, cold air billows through these mostly dead trees and bit of undergrowth. But there's
All right, so
no
nothing.
small creatures that you see of a size of a squirrel. You see the occasional sort of weird-looking perverted
Little
or
songbirds.
beetle of one or two
Yeah.
birds chirping at a distance. You don't quite see them, but you hear them.
All right. Any tracks on the ground?
Give a survival roll. What's that you got there?
14.
I have a cute little thingy that
Oh
makes
my
noise.
god.
It's a blackbird.
I have a
That's his
companion
breakfast.
today.
Yeah, it would be if it were real. Oh,
I
by the
rolled a
way, we
14
also
for
have
survival.
this thing that can do crickets.
Mm.
We can
Right,
improve
the
this by the
soundboard.
that sounds to it, and we
Soundboard's
can make
fine,
it
but
our
yeah.
own. Yeah, it can be really fun.
With a 14, you would notice something as you go a little bit deeper into the woods. You know, I'm picturing in a single file, so we've got Torbjorn, Ariel, and then we've got Voldret bring up the rear. As you're sort of deviating quite far off the path, and you've gone into a more thicker section of trees, a path that you haven't been to the previous journey, on your previous journey, and you enter into what looks like a bit of a thicket, almost like a circular gap in the trees, and in the middle you can see there's like this fallen over log that is the size of a tree itself, like a completely felled tree. And in the side of it, you can see just poking out as you've sort of been following this instinctive displacement you'd noticed in the foliage, a small, like bushy tail just sticking out the log.
I will slowly grab. What's the distance to it?
It's probably about 30 feet away from you.
30 feet.
You're
Can I
you're
make
sort of
that?
entering into this thicket, 30 feet to the fallen log, another 30 feet to the other side.
Right, okay. 30 feet, I believe I do make that. I will grab my gun.
Oh my god.
I will load it with a slug round,
Okay.
and I will aim for the fluffy tail, slightly towards the direction of where the body would be.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
That would be
Oh my
26.
god.
26. Would you like to describe the sound as you fire Avalanche for the first time in the company of these two guests?
It would sound like a grenade going off under a bridge.
Oh wow.
I will load it off. The flame will fling down. A little sizzle will go off.
Fortunately, your mic suppressed a lot of that. But as the explosion echoes and ricochets out, just you said a slug round.
Yes, because the buckshot is out of range.
The round hits the wood and completely in almost like an explosion of rotten, decayed timber just explodes everywhere. Inside this trunk, you expecting to see, perhaps, that might have been a little bit excessive, thinking you might see some kind of squirrel or something that's just really, maybe even a bunny with an extremely long tail for some reason. To your surprise, you can now see this long, furry, like extended limb that's now just got this huge slug-sized hole sticking through the middle of it, as it then sort of rears up, sort of looking in your direction before it then disappears into the remainder of the trunk.
No.
What did I just
I'd
kill?
like the three of you to roll initiative, please.
Oh no.
What the fuck are
Oh,
we
no.
fighting? What is breakfast?
What is breakfast
It ain't
indeed?
breakfast if it can't kill you in return.
Yeah.
Yay.
See my initiative roll? Because it gave me some
Uh,
sort of error warning.
No, you've got your dice in
What?
front of you, so you can roll that. It's not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it rolled it in the chat, but it gave an error warning. It was an 18.
Okay, so that is Tor. Not Torbjorn. I keep giving you. Torban. There we go. Torbran, Ariel, and Voldred.
I got
So,
2.
I need to roll. Ooh, it's a good roll for it, but it's not as good as yours. So, as the timber splinters away, you are left with sort of half a trunk, and you can see exposed is now the remains of something large and fuzzy that's curled up in the other end of the trunk itself. As you get the impression, as you sort of observe closer, this tail looked small and fluffy. The end of it, the last sort of like 6 inches or so, is a very smooth, like soft fur. And as you go a little bit further, you can start to see spines and spikes and small, sharp appendages sticking out onto this elongated addendum to this curled up creature that you can't quite fully see yet. But it is no squirrel.
It's no squirrel. Would any damage have gone through? I made a hole in something you said.
Yeah, it took a lot of damage from that hit. Sorry,
Alright.
go ahead and roll your damage. You didn't actually roll it. Yep, 17.
That's 17.
17 damage.
Um,
You can hear this low, guttural, sort of like almost like screech, but it's a pain yell. You can hear that.
all right. Whose turn is it?
It's you. You're starting.
All right. Would I still have my action? That's my first question. How are we doing?
You got a surprise round. It's now just the top of the round, so you have movement, action, bonus action. It's just complete start again.
Right. Okay. So it's curled up. I have no clue what it is.
Nope.
Can I use my action to get a better look for what it is?
You
I
would
can
have
move a little
to go
closer.
much closer to sort of look into the remainder of this now shattered and decimated fallen log.
All right. Oh, this is rough. I will actually move back into the shrubs, and I will use my action to hide
Okay.
as I wait for the creature's response.
All right. Make a stealth check for me then.
Stealth. That is a 20.
All right. Next up, Ariel. You watch as Torbran unloads, watches the debris go flying everywhere, second guesses his actions, and then immediately beelines for some shrubbery next to you.
Can I see the creature?
It's really hard to see. You can see what he shot at, and you can see that there's something curled up inside the remainder of this half-fallen log. But you would probably need to get closer to get a clearer image. Or you can roll with disadvantage. It's up to you.
Technically, told that that isn't with disadvantage. You just have to make a check against it.
Sorry, I was going if you wanted sort of insight or perception, that would be a disadvantage.
Yeah,
But if you want to
the
use Toll
thing
the Bed,
is,
it's something
it
you can see.
specifically
Yes.
says you have to see it.
You can
within
definitely
range.
see it. You just can't figure out
Okay,
what you're seeing.
then
That's
I'll
what I
do
mean.
this toll the dead thing.
Sure.
Tick, 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 tick. Wisdom save on your end,
Wisdom save on mine.
and it's the second value because it already took damage.
That is a 9.
That's a miss.
Oh,
So
well,
it takes 15 points of necrotic damage.
15 points. Okay, so 32.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. You just hear this moment of silence, this heavy breathing stops, and this guttural crying stops. And then you get the sense that it's going to react quite aggressively afterwards. The remainder of your turn.
I'm going to just kind of back off. I'm 30 feet away from it now. I want to back off my 30 feet, so I'll be 60 feet away from it. That's still
Okay.
within range of Toll the Dead,
Sure.
but at least it's not as close, so hopefully it will help.
All right. Next up, emerging from this log itself, as you realize what you thought was a log actually begins to sort of unfurl and unwind itself into this some kind of like treant bark looking hybrid with a strange oily slick skin to its exterior, as a large bulbous eye materializes on the outside of it as it looks round, glancing in the general direction, and it immediately, unfortunately, as you're still in the air vicinity, Voldret, focuses on you. Can you please make a wisdom saving throw? This is a DC 14. Okay. You hear some chattering and this whirring, and your senses begin to make you get incredibly dizzy before a moment later you just sort of look at the eye as the eye itself is shaking and shimmering and looking in your direction before it sort of blinkers and steadies itself as you succeed and not shrug off the effects unaffected. However, it does immediately roll up back into a log-like bowl and begins to move at as great haste as it can, 15 feet away from you guys, as fast as it can move. As you watch this sort of log thing just sort of roll itself away from you.
Is this a creature that we would have seen before?
You can make a history check. I don't think
That's a 4.
4. You are very perplexed at what you are witnessing here.
What the hell?
Voldreth, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, it's running away from me. It's just stared at me.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna Eldritch Blast it.
Go ahead, make the attack roll then. Oh, is it? It's a it's a spell DC, isn't it?
Make a range spell attack as the target.
Yes.
It should be on your first sheet to find it.
Oh, DC is 12.
No, you should roll it. It should be on your main sheet, the first page core, and then it's under hit dice and death saves. It should be there, and you can just click it from there.
Oh, the hit dice is D8, that one.
No, that's your health.
Oh.
You need to roll with from the Eldritch Blast in the next section. There's like a square box. Yeah, there you go.
I got you.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, so a 9. Unfortunately, as you sort of let loose this bolt of energy, would you like to describe the color of your Eldritch Blast?
So, the tattoo that you can see on his neck just goes like quite black. The eyes go dark, and as he casts it, it goes Nyah! And it basically comes as crackling black level, purple, blackish lightning. Like
Okay.
Void-esque.
Very cool, very cool. Someone's been enjoying Illyria recently, evidently. As you fire this Eldritch Blast off, unfortunately, you just sort of see this jettison of dirt and soil and debris go everywhere. Looks like you hit it, but you're not quite sure. The creature sort of moves erratically around as it's still making its way from you as fast as it can, it seems. Top of the round then. Torbran.
Oh, I've still got my actions.
Apologies.
I'm going to chase after it with my movement.
Okay.
And then bonus action, so my spiritual weapon.
Ooh.
Okay. Describe your spiritual weapon for us.
I whistle. Oh, come here! I open the prayer book and just a hammer appears.
How big's this hammer? Is it what color is it? Is it ethereal? What's the shape of it?
It's a nice gold hammer.
A golden hammer.
Actually, no, it's
Oh.
void because I've just cast a void spell, so it's purple.
So it's a purple
And-
hammer. Okay.
Yeah, purple hammer. It's like the size of, I'd say, a blacksmith hammer. It's just there.
Okay.
Nothing special.
Fair enough. So as you summon the spiritual hammer, I assume pretty much on top of the creature, as you can spawn it either next to you, anywhere in range.
I'm just finding. I'm pretty sure I can. Yep, 60 feet. Yep, so it'll be a range.
Fantastic. So, top of the round then, Torbran. You got them into this mess. How do you get them out of it?
I want my breakfast. So I'm in the shrubbery. How far away is the creature from me?
It has just moved 15 feet. So you were 30 feet away. You probably moved back 30 feet. So 75 feet
Alright.
away from you now.
Would I be able to walk around the brush?
Yeah.
In order to close the distance by 5 feet or more.
Yeah, you can step forward. Are you trying to move unseen? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, I don't want to move into the open. Or it doesn't have its back turned.
You are struggling to identify what this creature
Right,
is.
okay.
This eye is in its back looking at Voldret.
Right, okay. So would I be able to circle around through the brush to close the gap by 5 feet?
Yeah, you could move. You would make a stealth roll if you want to maintain that stealthiness.
I would probably have to because he's out of range at the moment. Well, how does this work? Yeah, he is out of range. So I would have to roll another stealth roll to move, which would be an 11.
Okay. That was sleight of hand, but I assume it's the same bonus.
Let me check.
+4?
Stealth is 4, sleight of hand. Yeah, it's both 4.
Okay. So
It's the same roll.
so you make your way through, you close the gap. What do you wish to do?
I will open a small little pouch on my belt and I will grab an empty shell that I will then, it will start to fizzle a little and glow very faintly, where I will cast Ensnaring Strike.
Okay.
Except it's a grenade shell that will now be loaded with a magical barbed net, which I will shoot out of my little hand mortar. Which means that does the next time that I would hit a creature with a weapon attack, it will have to do a save. And a large creature has advantage on the saving throw. If the target succeeds, the vines shrivel away. Otherwise, it is restrained by magical vines. In this case, a magical net. So
Okay.
I will load that in my hand mortar, and I will just probably make a slug roll because it's supposed to be a weapon attack.
Mhm.
Which would be a 26.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
While that hits, I will also use my subclass feature to add 1d8 to that, to the damage. Was it 1d6? I think it's 1d6. So the damage would be that plus 24 damage. And it needs to make a DC 14. Let's see, what stat is that? Can I just spell save DC? Does that work?
Strength save.
Strength
Okay.
save.
It rolled a 17.
All right, so it's not restrained. I will then use extra attack to shoot him again.
Okay. As you do,
Mm-hmm.
you would be aware of, as the first bullet lands, and as the net lands and encapsulates your target, it struggles and restrains to move. It's about at this moment you realize you feel sort of something around your feet as you're moving through the shrubbery, almost like something wrapping around your legs.
Oh,
So just before you take your second shot,
okay.
you observe this.
I will move into the open area closer to my other dwarf fellow. I forget your name. What is your character's name? Because it's not in roll 20.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could change your name for next week, we'll get that sorted. In roll 20.
You can
So
change it now too. It just go to settings, the settings, the cog, and you just change the display name.
great stuff. So as you attempt to
Oh.
move, can you please
Yeah.
make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Dex save. That's a 24.
Okay, as these, what you look down, you realize are actually vines attempting to grasp around your boots and ankles, and a lot of them, like half a dozen, rapidly moving towards you and attempting to snake their way up. You jump out of the way of them before they take hold and root you.
All right. Where are they coming from him, or are they coming from like underground? Like, can I see them
In this
going over the
undergrowth, it's
ground?
hard to determine their source.
All right. All right. I will move over and I will then shoot him again.
Okay, make your attack roll.
Slug. That will be a 12.
Unfortunately, a 12 misses.
All right. Yeah, that's it then. I'll keep it there.
Okay, Ariel.
I am wondering if the vines are an actual enemy, a separate enemy, or if they're coming from something else.
As sort of Torben runs over, passing comment about them, you
Watch out for the vines!
watch
Yeah.
and look around, and you can see all around this thicket, the floor of it is seemingly moving somewhat.
Oh my God. Okay, great, great. I am going to do what I did before by targeting the fluffy thing.
Mhm.
With another Toll the Dead in this case. Let's see.
Sure thing.
It's 11 necrotic if it goes
Wisdom
through.
save. Natural 1. First of the
Aw.
campaign. So takes 11 damage. And with that, you just see. Oh, it's necrotic. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hang on. It was necrotic first time as well, wasn't it?
It was necrotic all the time, yeah.
Yeah, how much was the first one?
15.
15. Okay, 7. 6. Okay, you. I misplayed. Okay, we'll carry on.
It's okay.
From there, as you just told the dead, what do you want to describe the spell as you cast it?
So basically, a luminous bell manifests, which is going to make this sort of grave sound as it turns from one side to another. But it doesn't look like it looks very beautiful. It's luminous. It has designs on it that look like butterflies, and as it once it tolls, then it just disappears in this flash of light very elegantly around it.
And as it dissipates, you see that shockwave connect with the creature as it goes still and motionless, and you hear the vines around the thicket cease their movement.
I comment, maybe we should just get this and go away, get ourselves out of this ticket. That's all. turn.
As combat comes to a close.
Ah, okay. I was assuming there would be more
Mhm.
madness with the vines.
Nope, just a small little cursed thicket.
Nice, nice.
So as you run over to investigate the corpse, I'm guessing Torbran,
Mm-hmm.
make an investigation check for me, please.
An investigation check. 16.
You find such a bizarre anatomy of this creature. Its exterior skin is oily, slick, bark-like. You can see its internal sides are sort of decomposed, some kind of humanoid, and you can see attached to the end of it some kind of a long appendage, which is a fur spiked limb that ends in that very soft, fluffy tail aspect of it. And this creature itself looks deprived, deformed, where there would be, perhaps just a singular head, not a humanoid-shaped head, but like almost a square or cylindrical-esque, just this one gaping eye that's now just colorless and motionless.
What an
And
exotic
it's fluffy.
specimen.
This is the weirdest thing ever.
Is it sort of plant-like?
Looks
Or is it
like some kind of decayed, demonic tree humanoid creature.
I will grab my hand axe and I will chop off a piece of the appendage.
Okay. Do you want to get the fluffy bit all in one go, or do you want to go for some of the spike stuff?
I want to get some of it all. So
Okay.
the fluffy bit plus some of the rest of the appendage.
So whilst Torbran is tucking into his just desserts, what's everybody else doing?
I'm gonna go around and pick up some of the wood.
Okay. Are you specifically looking for the vines, or are you just looking for the shattered, destroyed parts of the tree that Torbran?
The wood specifically. It's like I know it's useful.
Okay, sure thing. You can
I'm
add a
probably just
couple of pieces
going
of
to
wood.
give. I'm probably just gonna give Torbran some guidance as he tends to the weird creature. So you can add 1d4 every time you do something.
I would like to first start off with making sure that the clear area that we're in is safe from any other
Yeah, maybe we should go away from that.
wiggly vine things.
Yeah.
You would be aware that there's no wind in this thicket. There is no movement other than yourselves.
Okay.
That's
Seems like as good a place as any to make a fire.
weird.
Okay.
And the fire just doesn't start because there's no oxygen and we all die.
Well, I mean, we can breathe, so there supposedly is oxygen.
Yeah.
I will. Is there any so the lock where I initially shot at, is that still there or was that part of the creature?
You realize now that was part of this creature, as the same splinters that
Alright.
you come and recover. Whatever this creature was, I think I would say probably putting one and two together, you realize this was not a fallen tree. This was something resting in an opening that just got absolutely shelled.
Okay. I will grab some kindling and I will try to start a fire.
Okay. It seems easy enough. You put some two and two together. As we accelerate this along, what are you hoping to achieve with this fire?
Breakfast.
Are you going to cook some of this tree?
I'm gonna cook some of this tree because we set out to get breakfast and this is my breakfast.
Okay. You would probably need to roll on. What do we say you were rolling for cooking? I can't remember.
Wisdom with proficiency.
Yes. If you could make a Tollbrand cooking roll, please. And this is sort of as you're chopping bits and pieces up and you're sort of looking at things, you've got your cauldron on the go.
Wisdom. Add 3 to that, so that would be 20
Why are you adding the 3?
proficiency.
Oh, you're adding another 3. Okay, and then you have a guidance as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's 23 total.
So there's a DC 20 on this. You would conclude there's not really much that you could eat here, right? There's no flesh. It's more like a dried husk of the humanoid, the skin, mossy like skin texture to it. What you would deduce is this might make for a very, very interesting kind of tea or coffee to just put some of the wood or bark bits in and then fish them out before you
Oh.
drink it. So as you begin this brew, this broth, and would you put little bits of the flesh in just to see? Go for it. Just to add a bit of texture to
Yeah,
it.
I would make a little stew, and I would
Okay.
at some point maybe test and start nibbling on very small pieces just to see what it does and what it tastes like.
Okay.
Um,
This is the most bizarre bark-like texture that you've experienced. It almost feels it like as you dip it in, the oil, as that sort of oil is removed, you feel like this fuzzy texture on your tongue, and the lips start to go numb.
mhm. Oh. Oh, lips starting to go numb is not a good sign. I will take out the rest of the bark, but I will keep it as a broth that we can drink from.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will slowly start sipping down on a glass of broth, and I will look at my fellow dwarf and blue elf. And I'm sort of waiting for them to grab it themselves, as that
Can
is
I
what would
see if
have
there's
happened
any
in the past.
yew trees around?
All the trees in this thicket, they are dead. If you want to make a nature roll with disadvantage, you can try and identify what they perhaps were in life. But these are very old looking trees. On a 13, you wouldn't see you, but I would say you would perhaps identify that these were once willow trees.
It's not what I need.
Oh, would you care for a cup of fluffy snake broth?
Snake
Oh,
broth.
I've still got some of my coffee left. I'm fine.
I want to try it.
Still got some coffee.
Okay.
You live on coffee alone?
Pointy-eared?
Yeah, I'll try it.
Good.
Can I get you to roll a d20, please, Torbran?
Yes, just a straight D20.
Yeah.
That's an 8.
Okay.
Quite unlike.
You currently have disadvantage on wisdom saving throws for the next hour.
All right.
As you feel that this broth itself, it definitely has a numbing agent. It's warm. It's not overly tasty. The substance that you've put in here, you go, that either needed longer, it's too chewy, it's not. It's almost like drinking, some kind of pond water almost in terms of the texture of a bit of algae on the top of this mossy substance. It's just not pleasant. But the numbness strikes you as your lips are completely numb. They're not swollen, you just can't feel them. And
Mm-hmm.
your tongue becomes numb, your throat becomes numb, and you have this cold sensation from your stomach.
Okay.
You have that reaction. Did you still want to share? My God.
I only learned about it now.
You don't look too good there, mate.
That's sometimes the price you pay for a proper breakfast.
I'll walk up to Torben and I'll cast protection from poison on him.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. With that, the cold sensation in your stomach begins to subside almost immediately. The numbness,
Oh.
however, lingers.
All right.
I feel like in the future I should start preparing purified food and drink for this party.
I have that there, but I read
Which
the
I
wrong
do have
spell.
access to with my 1 level of cleric. I just need to prepare it.
I've got that. I've got it.
You got it?
I read the wrong spell.
I've got it. I put it in the moment I knew what Born was
The
going
three
to
of
say.
you are like, we don't
Okay.
trust the
So
cook.
everybody's prepared. Okay, that's good to know.
I didn't know.
So much. Oh, this is good.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So, as
I
you...
will keep some of this bark stuff.
Yep.
For tea.
So you can add like
Sure, that's a good idea.
You can add a bundle of Shoggoth bark to your inventory.
Bundle of what? Say the.
Do you guys just eat the Cthulhu spawn?
Yeah, basically.
Pretty sure there's a Lovecraft story that starts like that.
What
I
was
put
the
that in the
creature
wrong thing.
called? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Shoggoth bark.
Shoggoth bark. Uh, the effect carries over to me as well if I drink the thing, right?
It will do.
Because I won't say no. Okay.
Okay. So you
Then
have a
I'll
numbness,
drink the thing.
and
I have the numbness.
but you roll a d20 for me.
Oh, okay. 18.
You, however, are not poisoned, so you're fine.
Oh, how lovely. I just enjoy weird texture miso soup with without the poison.
So
And I noticed that she's not poisoned. Oh, is it good tea?
That works.
It's a little
Not
bit
bad.
strange. Don't mind that.
Then I will just castify purify food drink on it,
okay, then there's no need for you to make the save.
and then
you
I'll
do-
drink it.
And as you drink it, it's just a little bit like a standard broth with bits of bark in it for you. No numbness, no nothing.
This ain't good stuff. I'll have me coffee.
Isn't
Not
that
too
shit just bitter though?
Oh, it puts hair on your chest, lad. You don't get a beer like drinking the black stuff.
I'll stick to tea. I like my tea extra poisonous.
Extra poisonous, gosh.
Live little. Alright,
Live a
I've
little.
had my fill. How about we head back?
Sure.
So, returning, I would say, what would Lothar have been up to for the sort of last hour or so that this venture had been dabbling on?
He would have returned to the Adventurers Guild, and if he hadn't found the party there, he would have started researching on the lizard thing.
Fair enough. There's quite a few compendiums in the Adventurers Guild with indexes and archives of bested creatures and general advice for those looking to make a life through bounty hunting, etc.
He would be taking notes.
Go ahead and make an investigation roll for me. See what you dig up on. What are you researching, though? I would say you probably have time to research one of them thoroughly.
Um,
Are you going after Flametail or are you going after the Drake?
the Drake. He would start with the Drake because it was the first that he laid his eyes on.
Okay.
And he knows the demon would be more dangerous. Flat 1d20, it's a 12.
So you would know from the image itself, the drake, it looks like a young hatchling from the depiction, though the sketch is not perfect and it's not like it's a photograph, you know. You get the strong impression that this is probably something young, and you would be aware that drakes, you know, they tend not to travel too far from their clutches. It's very bizarre for them to be on their own, especially if they're young. However, if they've reached sort of more an adolescent, then they would have spread their wings, so to speak, and stepped away from the clutch and tried to make their own place in the world. A cautious tale would denote that some can have venomous bites, some can master somewhat their dragon-like flame breaths to some less potent degrees. Depending on the heritage of the beast, it could be aquatic in nature. Some might not even be capable of flight. Others may be born with natural invisibility. So, without a specific breed for you to delve into, and from the picture, it's unfortunately not good enough for you to identify, as there's no color to it, let alone any characterizing traits. You're just sort of getting a broad spectrum of knowledge.
He would look for tools that would be useful, recommended by other hunting parties.
There's a
What
bit
works?
of an itinerary, and it's more like, you know, depending on the thickness of the scales, whether or not you would want slashing or bludgeoning. Some have natural resistances to types of magic, etc., etc.
Okay.
As you sort of look through, you would note the last confirmed kill of a drake, though it's noted it was not a bounty, is the Company of the Wolf Guard. And it's dated, I think, it would probably say, in terms of date, it would probably say 2 BR, which would denote before ruination.
Yeah, that he would just whistle to himself and. Yeah, this is highly current data we're working with here. And then light a pipe and start smoking while he rifles through the tome.
As the troop of you return to town, you bypass the guard, who gives you a disgruntled look, having to make him do his job once again on such a day. As you head back towards the Adventurers Guild, you find Lothar in his favoured armchair, pipe smoking, and various literatures sprawling across the small table in front of him.
Where were you lot off to?
You
You're
are
muted.
Would I know the term Shoggoth?
I would probably say no,
All right.
but you can certainly ask.
Well, we were enjoying a good cup of tentacle bark tree.
It was
I
fluffy.
will grab the bundle of Shoggoth and I will show it to Lothar. You'd like to try some at some point?
Would Lothar recognize it?
You can make a nature or religion roll for me.
I'll go with religion because I actually have some bonus. It's a 10.
10. That looks, what is presented to you in the large gloves of the dwarf is some ichor looking covered decayed bark. and doesn't look appetizing one bit. With your 10, I would certainly say you would be picking up that this is of a fiendish origin.
Yeah, I would burn that if I were you.
Why?
And spread the ashes and just in case they coagulate back into it. Whatever it is, it's fiendish.
Why? You've never ate something fiendish before, have you?
So I grew up on plenty of stories about band of crusaders from one Arla kingdom that went up north and ran out of food and decided to eat the things they hunted. None of them ended well. Even the paladins, who were blessed by Torm with a body immune to disease, would have a difficult time coping with eating that.
I probably didn't boil it long enough. This hardy old body can probably handle a beating. But I can understand you frail humans might think different about that.
Oh,
I'm with the paladin here. It tastes like crap. Do I notice that the young barkeep's on still?
Yeah, he's on, but he's just like away with the fairies, not paying any attention to anything.
Hey, bar.
It's bad.
Oh, same thing. Another coffee.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
He goes outside. A few minutes later, he comes back with your regular brew.
I'll take it and start drinking it. This is the real stuff.
Well, now that breakfast is over, maybe we can discuss how we're going to take down that Drake, was it? Firetail? And I will
Yeah, it
give
was
it
just
my wink.
Are those two different creatures or just one with two names?
Different.
yeah,
Oh,
there's two
okay.
different.
Lothar had a thing for a Drake, and there was a an adventure guild contract for a Firetail. But there was also something else which we were actually planning to do.
Yeah, I was just looking over, and he points at the books strewn in front on the table in front of him. I was just looking over whatever details you might have on this, and he just raises the poor drawing. This looks like anything, really. Come to think of it, might not even be a drake we're after, but who knows? And as for drakes, well, some of them are immune to everything, some of them are immune to nothing. They spit either acid or fire. You need to either cut their scales open, or smash their scales open, or fireballs their scales open, or impale their scales open. So that's anyone's guess. With the amount of details we've got, whenever we run into this thing, so we're going to run into it blind. So I still suggest we go and see about the missing villagers first.
Okay.
If at some point, if that gives us the resources to eventually take down a Drake, I'm down.
It's so the missing villagers are connected to the Drake contract in general?
Not
Or
necessarily.
Oh,
Not
okay.
could be, but not necessarily. Everything's around the same area.
So you would know that in the north there are sort of two towns. One's more just into sort of the mountain passes. That would be Mirefall. That's where you've previously visited, Torbran. And this is where the bounty of missing people is. And the other town, much deeper into the mountains at a far higher altitude, is the is Storm's Pike. and Stormspike is a very small mining outpost, long abandoned from its productive years as its rarities and gems had been abandoned. This would be something you would just have generally been aware of in your general adventures around here. However, there's still a small populace up stationed at that outpost.
Okay.
So around that vicinity is both where missing peoples have been reported and where site of this Drake bounty has come from.
Okay. And the firetail thing is also in the area?
Not in the mountains, but a little bit to the west of the mountains, though it was just a hearsay, rumors.
Okay.
It's quite
Okay.
weeks old data when you found that noticed. So who's to say where it is?
Got it.
Well,
So,
we can rescue those missing villagers. Maybe get some gold. Prepare a bit for our
I'd
exotic dish.
I'd set your expectations. They're probably long dead. We're just going to figure out what happened to them.
What were the rewards for it? How were they laid out?
Ah, he's going to look over the bounty copy again.
Did you write it down?
I did not.
I believe the Drake was only 200 gold pieces, and I believe Firetail was 500 dead, 1,000 alive.
Yes. And the missing persons?
Had no reward, it was a request for investigation.
Okay. Are
So-
we writing this down now? Because it will be relevant. Okay, good. Yeah.
And no, we're not bringing in that thing. If we do run into it, we're not bringing it in alive.
Sure.
I wouldn't even bring its head if it wasn't necessary to prove it's down.
Is it
But anyway.
common for an adventurers guild to have contracts that have no reward?
It's more of both a. Sorry, was that in character or was that to DM?
It was mostly in character
Sorry.
towards Lothar. I assume Lothar is familiar here.
Yes. Well,
At least he seems so.
the Adventurers Guild is both a militia for hire. It is a tasks that need doing of non sort of domestic in nature. This has a sense of danger towards the task, and therefore that is what the Adventurers Guild bounties sort of pick up on. But as the Adventurers Guild is well connected and well traversed out the lands, it also simultaneously acts sort of like as an information center. So it will point you in the right direction, basically.
Right. Okay. What do we missing villagers?
You sort of like there.
Well-
What do you say?
I'll ask Lothar since he probably
Hmm?
has them in front of him.
What? Again, I didn't quite get what you said.
What do we know about these missing villagers?
Sing.
Are there children among them? What races? Ages?
He's going to actually look over the bounty paper again.
It just says missing 6 individuals, town of Myfall.
Okay.
It's as much as we know.
Is there? Do the contracts have a listee, like who made the contract, or is that?
No, this one was
I-
just a
I will-
general inquisition.
I will walk up to the little. It's still the 16-year-old boy at the desk, right?
Mhm. Well, who's now come back
I'll-
with the coffee? Yeah.
I will walk up to him with the contract. I'll ask like, is there any other information about this? Who made this request or any detail?
I don't know. Which one is it?
I will shove the paper to like slightly in front of his eyes, like.
He's sort of about the same height as you. So the two of you over this desk that's sort of heavily disrupting both of you. As he sort of just like looks down and he's like, I don't know. I have to look in there.
Why'd you asking me, man? Why? So he,
Oh boy, Anders sure knows how to pick 'em.
as you sort of hand the notice over, he takes it down and he goes back into the back room where sort of the compendiums and archives are kept from Lothar. Do you just hear this voice? Are you done with them books yet as well?
Yeah, I'll answer once you speak properly. Words are free, you know.
I will look over my shoulder. Lothar, don't you know a thing or two about discipline? What have you been doing here all this time?
He's not mine to discipline.
Maybe you should change that.
No, I do not.
Oh my
I've
god.
already got one kid to worry about.
As
Really?
He stops in his tracks while saying that.
You have a kid?
Nah. Just forget I said
you
anything.
jumped yourself in it there, lad.
a
He's
large
not.
book hits the desk as you're sort of saying this to disrupt the conversation. As the lad turns and you can see this is like a large logbook, and in it you can see in very elegant writing, very clear, well cut, straight lines and sharp filigree on the corners of all the pages, and the beginning of the paragraphs are wonderfully eloquent in their texture. As you can see, dates and indentations and notations of all manners, of all the contracts. What you didn't notice was on the small piece of the parchment for that thing, as the bard holds up the piece of paper, he sort of blows on it, and in the corner he sort of rubs it between his hands, and you just sort of see that he pays attention to something that sort of materializes in the bottom right of the page. And he then begins rummaging through, and he's looking, and you can see his hand running down like an index numbering system. And he stops and says, this one. How unusual. It says anonymous. 6 members of the town folk have last been seen on second moon of the winter. Thought mining accident. Potentially lost. Seeking adventurers to go and retrieve possessions.
It was last seen on the second moon of the what?
Winter.
Winter. And
Which
it
you
is
would
currently?
know would be about a week ago.
Probably long dead, so, like I said. Well, we're going to end up there anyway. Might as well have a look. Ask around Meyerfall. Maybe they have some other odd jobs they need doing. Do you know people pay you to chop wood in these parts if you're sturdy enough?
Do they pay you to drink it?
Drink. What am I missing?
I just chuckle to myself.
Bunch of weirdos. Closes the book and Bard busies himself in the back room.
Yeah, Anders sure knows how to pick 'em.
So shall
So-
we head off in that direction now?
Might as
I
well.
can't think of anything.
Oh, I'm
Might
looking
as well.
forward to seeing that guard again. Because I assume we're going to take the same gate.
Before they leave, Sir Lothar writes the name he got from the Tortolan on a slip of paper, folds it, drops a bit of wax from the nearby burning candle, and seals it with a ring with the symbol of a raven, and hands it to Bard. Hand this to Anders. It's a personal request. He knows who it's about. And once Anders would read the note, he'd just say, he'd see that it only says, name, ... he hurt her. Personal favor, signed Lothar.
Okay. If you want the name is in your chat, but That's for you.
Oh.
The bard just looks like, really, if I have to, I guess. Puts it to one side, and you just sort of see it's just on the open in the letter rack, just part away, parted outside a little bit. So, Torban?
I will sort of gruntle to myself, like, God, these kids these days don't have a backbone. That's where you get when you don't have a proper diet.
Do you know that squires of the order used to be beaten out in the cold and then made to stand watch all night in case they had any infractions?
You on about that order of that dead church that, got its shit kicked in at the Battle of Ruination?
Well, the order is very much alive and sort of running a country now.
I don't see
They
him
did all
here.
right for themselves. Fortunately for a bunch of people, and unfortunately for the rest, yeah, you don't. But yeah, they used to beat up the kids that work for them and hang them out to dry in the winter's watch. And here's the kicker: none of them complained afterwards.
He's not even really paying you much attention. He's just being very rude and very childlike.
He just waves his hand and goes to pick up his gear, which is already prepared. The knapsack, traveling backpack, lantern, which he straps to his belt, sword belt, everything else. Within a few minutes, with the practice ease of a campaigner, he's all well equipped.
So, the party
Always
wishes
well
to head on out.
I will stumble outside with my walk pen sort of clanging behind my backpack. Ready to go.
So
I'll go give the bard the tankard back after I finish the coffee. I go, "You got any strings? I've got to tie some knots while I'm out."
Yeah, maybe. He materializes some from behind the counter. As you guys are on the way out, a cloaked, hooded figure, about 6'6", you hear as he brushes past you, Lothar, heavy footfalls. You hear the clink, the recognizable clink of plate mail as it heads past you. He ducks to go into the doorway, and as Voldreth comes out, you just hear Barga, "Welcome to the Adventurers Guild, how can I help?" as the door closes behind you.
Mostly out of curiosity, Lothar looks back.
You just see a very tall, cloaked figure, traveler's cloak, broad shoulders, very tall, muscular in build, but you don't see any exposed skin. You didn't catch the face as it brushed past you.
He makes a mental note, muttering under his breath about, yeah, that looks like bad news on two legs. And once outside, he whistles in a very particular manner, and a pitch black, golden-eyed horse arrives as if from absolutely nowhere, but still chewing on a bit of hay.
Oh, you have a companion.
This is Steadfast.
That's
He's trouble on four legs.
So, do you mount up or do you walk with Steadfast?
He walks one until he's out of the city.
Okay. As you pass by, the previous guard has somewhat changed. Changing of the guards at this time of midday, and you go through uneventful out back into the wilderness. As you look through with your sun high in the sky in this cold winter's day, as the roaring wind is picking up and the fresh sea air is billowing across, as the Golden City walls begin to slowly shrink behind as you head on north, back up the same trodden path that you passed earlier, and head on into the depths of the winding passages that lead inevitably on about a day's travel in the direction of Mayafall. I would like to inquire who is going to lead this troop, as we have a little bit of an engagement here with survival roles who are looking to keep heading in the general right direction. Torbran, you have been to Mayafall before, so you would have advantage
Yes.
on this guidance roll.
Would I have I been on this specific road before?
Yes, there's only one road that leads to Mayafall.
Okay. But depending on how persistent Lothar would be, I would be probably in front.
Oh, he'd let you be in front.
All right.
I have survival trained, and with guidance, it's not too bad. But my wisdom really sucks.
You can both roll.
Okay.
Survival a
Mhm.
12. Oh, I had. Oh, the disadvantage doesn't matter. Still 12.
Uh-huh. And it would just be a normal roll for Illyria. 19. Okay, sorry, Ariel. So with that, you're following the path that you remember, though as you've only traversed this once or twice, you get this strange sensation that, the numbness of your lips, just this thought in your mind. And Voldreth, you too also get this strange, you feel like it's a whisper. It's just a whisper that you just can't quite hear. Ariel, you partook in the drinking of the tea, didn't you?
I drank tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, which.
So,
Wait, I drank the food. The tea. He said that he only had one version of
sorry,
it.
yes, you had some of the broth. The
Yeah.
broth is what I meant. Yeah.
I had the broth. Yeah.
Yes. You do feel like there's no sound, but this subconscious calling, though you are well adverse to following a path in the deep forests of more difficult to traverse terrain than this. And you manage to keep, when Torbjorn just sort of stumbles off a little bit and thinks he's picked up a path that's going through some trees, you just point out and you hold him true to the actual pathway. As your half day of travel goes uneventful with a 19, as you do hear overhead as you pierce through various other thick sections of tree, as the terrain itself, you're always heading in a slight increase in altitude, and the terrain is getting ever so slightly more marshy, a bit more boggy, as if the rainfall and the snow-capped peaks finally dissipate into this terrain, keeping it more of the oncoming of a swamp as opposed to sort of a solid mountainous trek. As you lead the party through twisting parts of trees and woods, as the road begins to finally lose its stature and lose its visibility, the natural forest has this shallow path about the width of 2 horses that leads through the underwood, and you can just see approaching this sort of slight mountain valley that falls before you as you sort of turn around the corner and find an opening in the dead trees and the dead wood. This valley itself, expansive, vast, and low, heads from west to east, and it's at the very base of what you know to be this large mountain range, known as the North Steppes. That's the range of the mountain range. And you would know, Torbran, at this juncture, you sort of come into more of an opening, but in this valley itself, it is
boggy, marshy, very thick underfoot. You have to more watch your step as to not fall into some deep pool that looks only like a puddle. But you would know you would need to be heading in a bit more of an easterly direction to head towards Mirefall.
Okay.
As you do, could I have the group make a perception check, please?
16.
3 14s and a 16.
Mm. Who was the 16? Is that Lothar? It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lothar, you hear something on the wind. The other three of you hear like this nagging whisper. But on the wind, you hear this. You could have sworn it's like a high-paced screech, but it's so faint. It could just be the biting wind as it wraps around through this valley.
He, mostly out of prudence, immediately equips his lance and shield and gestures to the others, saying that might be trouble ahead. And trots out a little bit ahead of the party to get a closer look.
Okay. It sort of came from overhead, which is why you're not quite sure if it's just the wind or if it's something else. But as you can now see towering off as you're heading in an easterly direction, to your left is the beginning of the scrambling steps towards the mountain passes and mountain peaks itself. You're faced with the decision. Do you wish to leave your desired path or continue on to Mirefall?
Only press on, I'd say.
Was that a path that I would have came across on my way to the Golden Keep?
You would have seen it, but you haven't traversed it.
All right. It's going up the hill, like up the
Up
mountain?
the mountainside, yes.
Do you want to have a look?
Why would we?
Well, let's just say that if it's anything dangerous that can track us, I'd rather not have them at my back if I know about them.
Yeah, if it puts you at ease.
Besides, it might be something you can eat.
I'm convinced. Consider me persuaded.
Is there anything you wouldn't eat?
Well,
Conjured food. I say that as I'm taking my shield off my back, seeing that Serene's got his equipped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
having not thought of that obvious answer, I just burst out a little chuckle.
You know, I did meet an elven mage once who told me that when they conjured their food, it would actually taste rather delicious.
Well, let me know once you find someone like that.
Oh, well.
You mean a rotisserie chicken instead of a boiled chicken?
Never had wild chicken.
As you venture up this somewhat challenging climb, it starts off simple and smooth as the path itself snakes almost abruptly left and right within the space of 10 feet or so. It constantly meanders its way up this ascent. It's quite difficult for Steadfast to make this journey. However, after about 100 feet of this tight ascent, you come up to a plateau and you can see immediately this large, sheer-faced, dagger-like path that now goes almost 30 degrees angled incline that is before you. Can I get you all to make another perception check, please?
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Soon at
Oh
once.
boy.
Just a 6. Oh, a -1.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a split second, as the whispers sort of natter in your ears, 3 of you, Lothar, you think you just feel like a shadow just went straight over you. But you look and you can't see anything around, and then you sort of blink and you feel like maybe something in your eye, an eyelash maybe. Just an uneasy feeling.
How is the visibility here?
It is, as you notice as you actually ascend, as you look out around you, what you thought was traversing in a sort of clear, cold, clear skies day, you realize there's this low-lying mist below you in the valley that you've just climbed 30, 40 feet up out of. And as you look above, it seems clear skies.
Was this mist always here?
A second.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the perception rolls you've all rolled, sort
Yeah.
of first you've observed a bit now.
Hmm.
Does anyone have anything they would say or do as
Are
we
we?
wait for
We're on a
Lothar?
stone mountain, right?
Yes.
Is there anything in this stony terrain which would be out of the ordinary for me?
You could make an investigation check as you sort of look around your feet whilst Lothar is distracted by this.
Investigation. That's a 2.
Yes.
These rolls are not great.
These whispers sort of nagging at your mind, distracting you, but rock and stone is as far as you can see.
Do you know the
Investigation.
stories about a bunch of men holed up in the cave and one of them hears something and says it might have just been the wind and ends up with an arrow in his socket?
I always thought that was a pen to your knee.
I know that's the other guy talking about being an adventurer at one point.
I'm talking about the chef.
Only know the story about the one who kept complaining that every food he ate was raw.
Okay,
So Lothar, what's your idea on this mist? I'm pretty sure it was clear going up.
Instinctively, he does, which is his way of actually casting sense evil.
Sense evil.
So, is there anything evil nearby?
Do you detect good and evil? Is that what your sense?
Yes.
It's
What's
very
the
similar.
paladin thing.
Basically the same thing.
What's the radius of it?
60.
60? You feel as you look out ominously hopeful, but you're not expecting it. There's no good to be found in anything. Such a place is devoid of the warmth of the gods that you would be hoping to feel and the general purpose. But there is this very, very faint evil immediately around you, in your companions, in all 3.
Whoa.
In all 3.
Mm-hmm. Marla, if you could check your DM, please.
Oh, let me check my DM. Okay.
He's going to try and put two and two together and look around and ask.
Oh, sorry. I clicked it by accident.
Exactly what did you guys eat?
A slimy, gooey tree trunk.
He absent-mindedly, dismounts, pulls his sword, and kicks at the fog.
So this mist was conjured by someone. It's not a natural phenomenon.
Someone, something.
Your guess is as good as mine, but it's some kind of spellcaster messing with
I
us.
will draw my weapon when she says that.
Yeah.
The wok is aggressively held up. Wait, no, not that one.
Can't see a thing in this damn.
And as you look out around, just quickly, as you do look out around, you realize this fog level, previously just on the ground below you, is now elevating up and increasing its altitude.
Okay, we
cast silence upon the group.
Okay. Is that a moving sphere around you on the target location, or is that
Just a
immobile?
space centered on a point you choose within range.
Okay.
Concentration up to 10 minutes.
Sure. Okay. And all sound just immediately Steadfast's grunting and whining has been tamed, though now it immediately stops. Though his motion doesn't.
Does anything happen to the fog?
To the fog itself?
Yeah.
Slowly continues to rise.
Lothar.
I'll just lower it, noticing that going now.
If we all go down the mountain, I bet the fog will just chase us around. But
yeah, might as well press forward, see what this is. In for a penny, in for a crown.
Oh, the perfect song. Onward.
Did you clear the silence?
Yeah, the silence is gone.
Okay.
And then as we start walking, I'll start singing the dwarf marching song.
Torbran, next to me, keep your eyes peeled.
I'm still halfway shouting while the silence ends.
As you immediately hear your words gain strength once more as they echo throughout. What is the last word you shout before you reel yourself in?
Steak!
Steak, 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 steak. So as you begin this rocky dagger descent, this is too steep for Steadfast to come with you on.
Yeah, he would have left him down, and surprisingly, once everyone looked away for a second, if they look back, he's just gone.
Where did your horse go?
you deconjured your horse.
It's not like I conjure him. He just goes somewhere. Always comes back chewing on something.
Oh, it seems like I should follow him.
It's hay or sometimes barley.
As you begin this dagger tooth-like ascent up this small pass, it goes on and on and on as it snakes its way around this mountainside. Eventually, you come 300 feet or so in your ascent several hours later. So a couple of hours later, 2 hours later. As you reach this new level outcrop, you find yourself enveloped entirely by this mist. You can see clearly with fog present for about 20 or 30 feet or so. Thereafter, it becomes hazy, noticeably hazy. And as you sort of look up, you can see sticking through out of the top of the cloud, you can still see the pikes and steeples of these mountains, but you can't see the in-between. And as you sort of come up to this plateau, this benchmark or this resting place, you can just see this natural outcrop of what looks like a recently disturbed sort of like avalanche that's naturally parted way to a bit of a crevasse within the mountainside itself. You can see a natural, probably one-person wide entry point into this rocky side of this mountain itself. Though, alternatively, you can also see that this path now is completely untraversable, though there's probably ways you could clamber up the side of this mountain, but it would now be hard rock climbing from this point onwards if you wish to continue the ascent.
Okay, so there's a small entrance, or we
Go
rock
up or you go
climbing.
back. They're your three options, yeah.
How good's your rock climbing?
Uh, well, I mean, I was stationed on the mountains, but that doesn't mean that active rock climbing was generally something we do every day.
You figure this is climbable between the four of us?
Can I check to see if it would be safe to climb? If no rocks would come loose? Or if
Roll
there's
athletics with int.
anything to grip at all?
You can attempt to climb it, and we can make a athletics or acrobatics check, whichever you want to do.
It doesn't matter for me. I will do a like a bouldering low climb in case I do. I would just sort of get a feel for the wall. Athletics 14.
Okay. Even under your stout, muscular frame, you find natural rock handles that you can make your way along and sort of scramble up about 15 feet or so. It's not quick, but it seems safe enough. Takes your weight at least.
All right. It seems passable. What about the fog, though? Last thing we want is someone to fall down and we wouldn't be able to notice it.
Fortunately, the adventurer's backpack that Sir Lothar started with has 12 feet of rope, so pulls out the rope, make a knot around your belt rings, or whatever it is.
That should work. Who should go first? I can go first if that's a good idea.
I think it's safer if both of us go at level.
Sure. All right. Assuming the other two are okay with it, we can start climbing.
Okay.
Can I look to see if there's any markings on the opening to the cave?
Make an investigation check. 21. At first, sort of in general inquisition of just observing the rock itself, looking for some kind of scripture, No scripture here. Looking for some kind of runes. No runes here. But what you do see is not the effect of tools. There's no sharp mining picks or axes here. There is a completely smooth, scorched texture to the entire inside of this cave.
I'll communicate this to the rest of the group.
Scorched. Scorched how? As in burnt?
It looks discolored, and it's still somewhat warmer than the cold exterior of the rock.
Some kind of lair.
What exactly did we walk into?
Based on your suggestion of not letting things behind us, maybe we should explore this first.
Might as well.
I will.
We're here anyway.
I will take some distance from the cave entrance, and I will tell everyone else to also take some distance, and I will find a loose rock, and I will gently, sort of underhanded, lob it in there.
Okay.
That's a lot of verticality. Maybe we do want to keep those ropes up.
Yeah.
Well, tie him up if anybody else has another one. And
I have a 50-foot one.
I do have a rope. Yeah, let's go rope by rope. I have a torch. I will. We're still in fog, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I will try to light a torch outside of the cave.
Just with a bit of flint and tinder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're a veteran mountaineer and a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to light a torch.
Yeah.
But you cannot get this torch to catch.
Something about this fog is not normal. Now, you said it was magical. What kind of magical fog would prevent a torch from being lit?
wouldn't know. Arcane doings aren't really my area of expertise.
Does the flint spark?
No.
Lit with darkness on it.
At that, Lothar's gonna try lighting the belt lantern that he has. Does it catch light?
If it's got a flame, no.
Nope.
Are we
I'm
up
gonna
for
try
more?
dancing lights. Does that work?
Oh, that would.
What color are they?
Basically white, but they have a pinkish glow outside of them.
And you summon 3?
And I summon 4, I believe. I can also make one vaguely humanoid shape out of them, but I just make. They basically just look like butterflies, like white butterflies fluttering about.
Very visible.
Mhm.
4
Okay, so we
slightly
have
pink
some light.
butterflies.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So this works.
Like I said, no expert in arcane magic, but I think it's safe to bet it's fog's magical or something else here is.
It's
And
strange
he
that
pulls
it's
out.
preventing fire, though. I wonder if it would have the same effect on fire spells.
I'm going into my pouch, pulling out a bit of the wood in the string.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I've got an idea. So I use those and cast Unseen Servant at level 1.
Okay. Do you pass him the string and the wood?
I know they're a component of it.
Oh, sorry, they're a component to summon the unseen servant.
Yeah.
So for you, to you, a slight shimmer of ethereal plane as you can see your unseen servant's location, but to all other eyes, completely invisible.
I'll command it to walk into the cave.
Okay. As it walks on in, as he is completely translucent to you, invisible to everyone else. You guys hear no footfalls, hear nothing, and very quickly the darkness swallows the servant up. What instruction did you give? Like walk in there indefinitely, or come back in how long?
Or can I look around and come back?
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can converse with unseen servant, can you?
So it only can move up to 15 feet. It doesn't say anything about communicate.
Yeah. It walks 15 feet, comes back.
Well, I think it's safe.
Has anything visually changed about it?
What, the unseen servant?
Yeah.
You can't see it, so you got no clue.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh wait, should I have said that? Oh no, I made my decision.
Yeah, he made his decision. Like Voldreth conjured something, the materials disappeared in front of you, and then stood there waiting, and then a few moments later said, "It's safe." That's your total
So it's for
engagement.
1 hour. So I beckon it with me, beckon it the servant with me.
Mm-hmm. So do you head on in?
Well,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
we might as well make our way in.
Who's last in?
I will go second with my gun drawn.
I'd go third, I think.
Okay.
Is Voldreth going in first? Or is he going in last, even though he's the one who said it was second?
I'm going in first.
Okay, so
Okay.
Lothar of the rear. Lothar, one last perception check for me.
7.
7. Just once again that scream could be the wind. You don't know. It's just the high-pitched frequency. Couple of seconds of a burst of that sound, and then it blends into the ambience of the environment.
Might just be the wind, and then there's an arrow flying out of the darkness. Bing, bang! The guy falls down into the. He's muttering to himself.
Oh my god.
I will say for here, Voldreth, do you have dark vision?
I do.
What distance?
60 feet.
Who else here has dark vision, and to what distance?
I have dark vision.
I
I
don't.
assume
It's a
it's
dwarf,
the
Rachel.
same. Yeah, it's probably the same as
Yeah, it's a dwarf thing. You have dark vision
60
feet.
feet. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
have dark vision. Neither does the
So-
You have-
human.
As the two of you are being led by two somewhat comfortable in this environment dwarves, making your way through this twisting, narrow
I will
cavern.
say, dancing lights is still up for now,
Yes, it is.
and I can recast it. So
That's fine. I forgot about that spell. Apologies.
That's
As
okay.
a butterfly goes flying back and illuminates before you,
yeah.
as you can see, there's a great deal of verticality
to this crevasse. The space itself, when you entered in, it was like the width of, just one person could get in at a time. But after you sort of gone 10, 15 feet, it opens up wider into a wider chamber. And you can see that this is a natural internal caving system that you've sort of just stumbled upon that has been breached from either the outside in or the inside out, to which you're not quite sure. With the debris having been on both sides, on the exterior and interior, it's quite hard to say. But as you look inwards, you find yourselves on this rocky ledge, Voldreth, as you immediately stop because you become aware that your sight is not permitting you anything. And then as a butterfly comes into range, you see that this stepping edge that you are has come to a stop, and you can see a vast drop below you, and in front of you is just straight darkness. Even the dancing light butterfly is not illuminating the other side of this darkness.
Is it illuminating sides?
You come out into a open area, and you have a ledge that is about 8 feet, and then it just is a sheer face off the edge of that.
Okay.
Looking upwards, you can see stalactites or stalagmites. I can never remember which one. Towering
The
down
ones
from
above are stalactites.
Stalactites towering
You
down.
gotta remember the T and the M. So if they're shaped like the
Oh,
T,
that's
the
where the location
stalactites
is.
go
Yeah,
up,
okay.
and the M are like this. So yeah,
Brilliant.
that's how you remember them.
So the stalactites are hanging down.
Yes.
You can see these are great, long, thick, conal and cave-like dwelling, almost like entities themselves. Give you this sort of uncomfortable feeling because dwarves in mountains, you are used to sculptured, cultivated, constructed, and delves brought under control, not natural order of things. Though you traverse the natural order, it is not your preferred environment. And as you get this sense, you hear this rock move, a rubble. It's echoing noise.
Can we tell where the sound is coming from?
With this disadvantage, make a perception check, all of you, if you're trying to locate the source of this, because it is as much echoing as it is potentially the source of this noise.
That's a 20 with disadvantage.
20 with disadvantage.
And Lothar bringing it up with the 20 total. So
Wow.
20 with disadvantage. You sort of get the sense naturally. You think, hang on a minute, is this coming from above? And your eyes and everyone else is sort of drawn to these stalactites above you, and you realize the uncomfortable realization that this is coming from below. And as you look down, staring up at you are two red, beady eyes that just glimmer out of the darkness. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
I think we found Fire Tail.
I saw that coming and it still didn't help.
Right, I'm going to stop the recording there, and then we're going to have a wind down for a few minutes. So,
Ooh,
1,
literal
2, 3,
cliffhanger.
4, 5.